Can multicultural education and culturally relevant pedagogy be used to increase student interest in social studies? Culture in America is continuing to evolve more and more. As different people enter the United States, so do the cultures that come with these people. These differences in culture include religion, ethnicity, learning abilities, and family structure. The way people carry out their lives is directly affected by these differences. As teachers, it is important that we acknowledge these differences to make a better classroom environment for our students. We must not only recognize these differences, but we must also embrace these differences and use them as a tool to better provide instruction for our students. Before discovering methods that use culturally relevant pedagogy to increase interest in school subjects such as social studies, first it must be defined. Pedagogy is often used to refer to how teachers transmit curriculum to learners. It can also refer to the particular teaching strategies they adapt in response to different contexts and learning styles. This means that culturally relevant pedagogy involves the teacher discovering a way to tie in student cultures with the method in which they're teaching. In other words, we define equity pedagogy as teaching strategies and classroom environments that help students from diverse racial, ethnic, and cultural groups attain the knowledge, skills, and attitude needed to function effectively within and help create and perpetuate a just, humane, and democratic society. Multicultural education is being used in classrooms across the United States more as educators continue to find value in this approach. As teachers educate themselves on different cultures, they display to their students that they are interested in their lives and that they do care what influences them. By the teacher modeling these interests in different cultures, it is also influencing students to see the value in learning about the cultures and the difference it makes in their peers. According to Blass, knowing a culture's beliefs and how individuals use these beliefs to interpret information, or sociocultural literacy, provides important formal education because learning depends on communication, and effective communication depends on shared background knowledge. Communication is key in education, and therefore, teachers must be prepared to communicate with their students. Our goal as educators should be to prepare students for the world through respect of cultural differences. Respecting cultural differences provides opportunity for all students to learn school subjects and prepares students to recognize their economic potentials. This is now recognized by educators as a top priority goal of elementary and secondary schools. Some ways that teachers can incorporate different cultures into social studies classrooms could be when learning about a war that takes place in Mexico, add a lesson about the culture in Mexico. This could mean teaching the students that their families live together in extended families and compare those families to families in their town. The class could also have a day where they eat Mexican cuisine, learn to dance to Hispanic music, and learn about Mexican artists that have influenced art today. By taking this extra time, the students are able to think about the people that were actually in this war and what they are learning about. They can learn about their way their families were structured, what they ate, and what they did for fun. By approaching it this way, the students will have an increased interest in social studies and will enjoy learning about these events. Another way to increase interest in social studies by including culturally relevant pedagogy is by reading books that connect history, culture, and literature. There are so many great books that teach about different cultures of people while covering history content. Martin Luther King Jr. by Marion Bauer is a great example of a book that ties these three things together: the history of Martin Luther King Jr., the culture in which he grew up, and great literature that will entice students to learn are all composed in this book. This helps generate a love for reading and learning history while keeping the students engaged and interested in the material they're covering. Finally, an alternative method to using multicultural education in order to make learning social studies more intriguing is by acting visual arts. The teacher would have the students write scripts, create props, and perform their plays based off of a history lesson they have learned. This is a great hands-on and tactile way to make the social studies lesson come to life. The creativity that comes with making a story and props will feed the imagination of students and will make them love learning. The students not only get to perform their play, but watch their peers play. This will allow them to see how even with the same prop, people can develop completely different stories that are all true in historical content. These plays would definitely increase interest in social studies and make learning more fun. From these and many other possible integration techniques, it is clear that by combining multicultural education into the teacher's pedagogy, social studies can be made more fascinating. These different ways will increase class participation through hands-on experiences. It will also create a love of learning and reading by incorporating great books. Lastly, by creating a day where cultures are celebrated and learned about, students can see the importance of learning about culture and valuing the culture that makes them who they are.